So of course, in true Dremo fashion, the spreadsheet is here. Okay, so PoEDB actually has the all of the mods as well as the chance that they can occur on alters, which is very handy because it allows us to basically exactly tell which influence that we want to run and which one we want to go with. Alright, so this is all of the Exile rewards here from minions and all of the Eater rewards from minions. And you can see here that there's some pretty big differences. Basically completely different in most cases. So the general too long didn't read is that Exarch has a much more consistent drop pool. He's going to drop stuff like Chaos Orbs, Awakened Sextants, GCPs, Instilling Orbs, Enkindling Orbs, Val Orbs, Regret Orbs, and that's all only on Exarch. It's exclusive to Exarch. Eater of Worlds doesn't drop any of that. And they're at really high occurrence rates as well. So you can expect to get a lot of good consistent currency from Exarch. And it's going to be really good. And overall, I think this is probably the guide to run if you're not planning on doing 400 maps or trying to get lucky. Because overall, he's got a pretty solid drop pool. If you do like 5 maps, chances are you're going to get the Chaos Orb modifier at least once and cash in on 10 to 15 Chaos Orbs from that map. Now, Eater of Worlds, on the other hand, has a very different drop table. He has pretty much complete garbage for his common drops. The best common drop he has is Scouring Orbs, and that's like, not that great then. But he does have exclusively in his drop pool Divine Orbs and Exalted Orbs. Exarch does not get Divine Orbs or Exalted Orbs, but Eater of Worlds do. Now, these are exceptionally rare. So if you take a look at my character right now, I have 752,000 kills, which is, a pretty good amount, and I've been playing a lot, and I've pretty much been playing Eater of Worlds the whole time, ever since I heard about the Divine Orb Shrine. And I've done it once. I got the boss variant, and I also got the Exalted Orb Shrine once, and that was also the boss variant. So overall, out of 752,000 kills, I've gotten 2 of the really overpowered shrines. Now, the person I'm playing with, which I think has about 650,000 kills, has gotten the Divine Orb Shrine once, which is Firegrass. Now, this is a pretty interesting scenario. So this altar is exceptionally rare. So now you have to make the decision. Do you want consistency and a really solid drop pool, which are going to get good stuff, every other map, every map? Or do you want a really moonshot chance at getting the big lottery? Well, that's going to be up to you guys. We'll talk about it a little bit more a little bit later, but we're going to go over a few numbers now so you guys can get a bit of an idea of what we're looking at in terms of the actual odds. Okay, so let's start off with Eater of Worlds. So basically, we have the weights of these going to occur. So for any single minion modifier altar to roll a Divine Orb altar, it's a 0.08% chance. So it's about a 1 in 1,000 chance for you to roll a Divine Orb altar on an altar. So per altar, it's a 1 in 1,000. Did you get it? Yes or no? In addition to that, you also have to consider, if you want that big 17 Divine Explosion, that happened at the start of the map. The very first altar he got was the Divine Orb altar. So that obviously made it much more crazy. If you got it at the end, maybe you get 5 or 6 Divines instead of the 17. So you do also have to consider that angle as well. Okay, but obviously there's the Divine and the Exalt, so you can kind of, there's a little bit of wiggle room there. But what does that actually work out to? Well, if you got 3 altars per map with a 1 in 1,000 chance, on average, if you had a chance at minion every single time, so let's say you boss rushed, or there was like a minion reward every single time, which is not the case normally, that would be a 400 map average to get the Divine Orb altar. So you'd have to run 400 maps to get it on average. That is an exceptionally large amount of maps. And if you actually calculate that and you say you take the average of like between like 4 to like 12 or something like that, and you got like 6 divines on average from this altar, because you might get it at the end, you might get it at the start. Well, overall, you'd only be making like a little bit over 1.5 divines per 100 maps, which isn't actually that impressive from running Eater of Worlds, considering the rest of his drop pool is fairly mediocre. Okay, so that is definitely, it's going to be a big win or big lose kind of situation. Now, in addition to that, Eater of Worlds Scarabs are actually far better than Exarch's. He has pretty much all of the best elite mechanic Scarabs, and Exarch has all of the worst ones. So Eater of Worlds drops Breach, He drops Ambush, Harbinger, Expedition, Legion, and Abyss. Those are all the best ones. You know, there's not really many better ones than that. So you will be getting much better scarabs from Eater Worlds as well to kind of make up for the fact that you're not really getting any good consistent drops outside of the mega jackpot. In addition to that, his div cards are actually inferior to Exarch's. He does have one good one, which is that Eater Worlds has a chance to drop a divination card but drops another divination card. So you can get stuff like the Patient fairly consistently, and you know, occasionally you can get the Nurse, which is, you know, alright, I guess. But overall, you know, the Eater Worlds drop pool basically boils down to, okay, you got some Scarabs, and then hopefully you get some Divine Orbs. That's kind of what it boils down to, and then you get your Ichas, which, you know, is alright, but the rest of these drops are kind of garbage. And you can kind of take a look at the chances of all those. I'll post this spreadsheet down below in the description. Let's move on over and take a look at Exile. So you can see here some of the more consistent and the best drops. So one in a roughly 8 maps, you will get Awakened Sextants. 1 in 9 maps, you'll get Altered Binding. 1 in 11 maps, you'll get Unmaking Orbs, which is pretty good. 1 in 9 maps, you'll get Val Orbs. 1 in 9 maps, you'll get Instilling Orbs, which are actually worth almost 2 Chaos right now. You know, 1 in 9 maps, so 1 in 22 maps, GCPs. And now this one's the real kicker. 1 in 4 maps will contain an altar, which gives you Chaos Orbs. And if you get that at the start, you're roughly looking at getting that 17C from that altar, which is pretty damn nice, man. Which is pretty damn good. In addition to that, you also have all the boss variants of these, which is pretty similar odds as well. So if you combine them together, you're getting Chaos Orbs and Awakened Sextants and stuff like that fairly consistently, and it's pretty damn nice. So overall, TLDR, Exarch for consistency, and if you're not doing an exceptionally large amount of maps or want to gamble, Eater Worlds for gamblers, basically. I think Exarch actually is better after looking at the numbers, personally, and I'm going to be swapping over to Exarch for the foreseeable future, because I do not like having inconsistent in-count, personally. Now, in addition to that, moving on into the consistency discussion even more, I want to talk a little bit about the keystones and the notables, which both of these guys get. So we talked about the Eater Worlds and all sorts of stuff like that being fairly inconsistent. So we talked also about how altars are now big win or big lose. So they've reduced the consistency of the amount of Eldritch monsters you get in maps. You get 20, I think, to 60 packs now, but they've got a much higher chance of giving you altars. And that is going to create big swings, right? Now, that actually stacks very favorably with Eater Worlds, because he has a 20% increased chance to find altars. Stack that on top of the increased altar chance we already have, and then you high roll with the Eldritch minions, like 60, well, you could end up getting like 5 to 8 altars in your map, and that would obviously be pretty crazy, and you can get a really disgustingly dense map in terms of loot. Now, Exarch, on the other hand, he's notable. Basically, is just going to give you a 50% chance at getting an altar every single time. So again, Exarch is consistency. If you want consistency, it's Exarch is your man. Now, when you look at the keystones, it's again a very similar story. So the Wrath of the Cosmos keystone gives you a 50% chance at rolling an additional upside on all of your altars, which is obviously exceptionally good. You basically get 1.5 times mods, which is going to even out what kind of loot you can expect to get. So, you know, getting 2 mods is, you know, going to make it a lot less standard deviation. So chances are you're going to get much closer to the average of everything I just talked about in that spreadsheet with Exile. Now, Eater Worlds, on the other hand, he just amplifies the effect of the altar by 50%. So, you know, the really low lows are just going to get amplified, and the really high highs are going to get amplified as well. So, you know, you're going to have that, you could go 1,000 maps with never seeing the Divine Altar. Or you could see the Divine Altar twice in 100 maps, and it's amplified by 50% by the keystone. So you can kind of see it's basically a complete lottery. And I think that overall, I would say for the majority of the player base, Exarch is going to feel substantially better, with me included. Now, if you want to farm some like highlights, or, you know, really go for it, and, you know, maybe like get a big jackpot to show off your friends, you could go with Eater Worlds, but I'm going to be going with Exile for the foreseeable future. And this massive Eldritch Altar overhaul is going to be the cornerstone of a lot of low investment farming strategies. It's really just that good, guys. Just give it a go, roll up some Exarch, see how it feels, and enjoy the Chaos Orbs, Sextants, and all the other bubblegum currency you're going to be getting. Hope you guys enjoyed this video. I'll see you guys in the next one. If you enjoyed it, make sure to chuck the thumbs up. If you got any feedback for me and you want to leave me some notes, chuck me a thumbs down and a comment. Until next time, cheers.
Money!
Yo, what is up guys, Corinne here, and in today's video I want to talk about a new addition coming in Forbidden Sanctum that is guaranteed to shake up the endgame economy and farming strategies, and that is the Fracturing Orb. To understand why the Fracturing Orb is going to be such a big deal, we first need to understand what it's going to be used for and, of course, what it's replacing. So the Fracturing Orb is being implemented in place of the current way to access fracturing items, and that is a Harvest Craft. So the Harvest Craft currently costs around 5 to 6 divines in the economy and requires a ton of pink life force as well as an Ashabi white life force item. Now, this is pretty damn inaccessible even for the highest level of players and is very difficult to get your hands on in solo self-found. Now, the very nature of this orb and this craft means that you're gonna need, on average, at least 4 of them to get the exact outcome you want on average. If we take a look at the Fracturing Orb, it says it fractures an item with at least 4 modifiers, and it'll lock one of them in place. So if you wanted to fracture one specific mod, you'll need 4 on average. So to fracture an item of your choice right now in the current economy, it's going to cost you around 20-ish divines just in Harvest Life Force, which is quite absurd and definitely puts a very high barrier to entry on using this mechanic or crafting any items that require it. So if the Fracturing Orb makes this at all more accessible, it's going to be a massive deal. Now, in patch 3.20, the new Fracturing Orb is essentially obviously inheriting the effects of this Harvest Craft, and it will be replacing it, freeing up all the life force that you're used to using in Harvest for other things, and also hopefully becoming more accessible at the same time. Alright, so we understand that fracturing is used by high-end players quite a lot, and it costs a hefty sum. But I wanted to explain a little bit why fracturing is just really so powerful for everybody if it's an accessible mechanic we can all use and get our hands on. So this is my character from Lake of Kalandra, which I min-maxed quite a little bit here, and every single one of my items that is not unique or synthesized is actually a fractured item, and that is because it's by far one of the most powerful crafting mechanics currently in Path of Exile. If you are able to use non-Shaper, Elder, and Conqueror influence items in your build, it will be something you want to look into in the new league, and all